Hello and welcome to 50 Fabulous Knits. My name is Pia and I am so happy that you're joining me here today for a little chat about yarn and knitting. I did not record last week, so I have 3 weeks worth of knitting to share today. But I'm gonna start out with what I'm wearing because this little one is ready to go out into the world on its own today. This is my November Rain sweater. I've shown it as I was working on it, but now the pattern is ready to be published, and that's always a little bit scary. No matter how much editing and testing and proofreading, I'm always just a little bit scared when I send my babies out into the world. But here we go. It's going to come out today. It is this super cozy, oversized, boxy sweater that has a very special sleeve construction. The sleeves are actually set in into the shoulder seam, so it's like one of you actually commented that it's like my shoulders are sprouting sleeves, and that's a wonderful way of expressing it. The reason why I did that is because that will allow me to get a batwing sleeve effect. As you're wearing the sweater, it actually resembles a batwing, but it's not, which means that you can wear it under a jacket or a coat without your sleeve and your sweater riding up. It has, as you can see, a V-neck and just a simple rib pattern also on the bottom of the body. And it is just, it's so easy to wear. It's just a very, very cozy sweater for fall. The yarn that I used for this sweater, of course, also makes it extra cozy. It is an alpaca silk blend from a Danish hand dyer by Cardigan in her colorway November. And you lovely viewers actually helped me name this sweater. When I was done knitting it, I showed it on the podcast and I asked you, what should I call it? And there were so many wonderful suggestions, and quite a few of you suggested November Rain. November because of the colorway name and because I just love November. And Rain because of the stitches running down here. It looks, I can easily see it when you said it to me. It looks like raindrops rolling down on a window. So I'm gonna go back to the episode where I asked you to help me. I'm gonna answer everyone who suggested November Rain, and I'm gonna ask you if you can send me either your email address or your Ravelry username, because then I'm of course gonna give the pattern to you. But yeah, a super easy sweater. You need to forget everything you know about sweater construction when knitting this. It was quite funny in the testing process. My most experienced knitters actually had quite a few problems working this sweater because it's so different. What you do is you cast on a lot of stitches, that's the stitches for the shoulder all the way out to here and around over the back and all the way over here. And then you work increases until you're at the bottom of the V-neck. Then you join to work in the round and you just work the sweater down, which of course also means that you can try it on. You can figure out which length is good for you. Then you pick up the sleeves up here in the shoulder seam. You pick up sleeves, you work some short rows to shape the sleeve, and then you just knit down for as long as you want your sleeve. Super easy, and as you can see, it's reversed stockinette. I'm of course not going to have people purl all the way through this sweater. you're working from the inside out. So it is knitting and knitting and knitting. It is knit at a rather loose gauge, and because you then have these heavy fibers, alpaca and silk are both smooth and heavy fibers that will grow lengthwise. So if you are working in a less smooth, less heavy yarn, you might not be able to meet the row gauge. In that case, I have added some very basic instructions in the pattern on how to work around this row gauge issue that we have so often. I mean, if your row gauge is much tighter than what is in the pattern, your V-neck would end up here maybe. It would just be not long enough. So I'm including some instructions for how to work around that. You will need to work from a chart. This ribbing pattern is written in a chart. If you have never tried working from a chart before, this is a very good place to start because it's so simple. It's just knits and purls in a very short repeat. So yeah, I would say that this sweater is actually quite beginner friendly. It's so difficult to determine what is beginner friendly, what is difficult, because it's so different for each of us. For me, purling with color work is not a problem. I know that that's a problem for a lot of other people, but color work with more than 2 colors, I really don't like it. That to me is super difficult. Color work with super long floats. So you never know what another person will find difficult, but I really think that this sweater would be very, very easy to work, even for a beginner. And it is just lovely. Yeah, as you can see, it's designed to have a lot of positive ease because it's the positive ease that gives this sleeve effect. I don't think it would look nice with a too tight a fit. Then the sleeves up here would just look strange, and it would probably also create some bulk under the sleeve. So you need to be comfortable with a big flowy boxy sweater to go up in these colder months. Well, colder in the northern hemisphere at least. And for those of you in the southern hemisphere, your time is gonna come as well. You will have winter at some point. We're lucky. We're headed towards sweater weather. So we have to take turns, right? To have the beautiful weather. I am actually in Denmark these days. I live in Italy normally. I am Danish, but I live in Italy. But we're in Denmark for the whole month of September. And September is beautiful in Denmark. It's just the beginning of fall. The air just has this little bite, and everything just smells so ripe and clean and beautiful. Plus, it's sweater weather. I can wear this and be super comfortable. The reason why we're in Denmark is because we are welcoming our new grandson into the world. It's amazing. Just looking into the eyes of a newborn. It's like you're looking into life itself. It's lovely. And of course, I finished the things that I had worked on for him. I already gave it to him, but I did take a photo. I knitted this playsuit, or it's called Playdate and a playsuit, but what I intended it for, what his parents are going to use it for, is going out to sleep in his stroller. Then it's nice to have a knitted suit rather than something heavy with zippers and stuff. A soft knitted suit is super comfortable. and also going in and out of the car. He's much more comfortable in something knitted. And this one really works up so fast. It is written for Aran weight, and you're just knitting garter stitch. It is worked flat. You have to be comfortable with a certain amount of finishing, but it's not bad. You start by knitting each sleeve flat, then you put them together to work the body, but because you have this opening in front, you're still working flat. And when you come to the sleeves, you just increase a lot of stitches so that the sleeves are knit in the same direction as the body, and then you finish with just a little ribbing after. Yeah, super fun, super easy pattern. It's a free pattern from Drops, and I'm gonna link it in my show notes below. I did use an acrylic yarn for it. Super cheap yarn that I picked up, I think, in Hobby Lobby. I don't have the rest of the yarn or even the ball band with me, but I'm pretty sure it was called I Love This Yarn. It was this Aran weight 100% acrylic yarn, and it was just soft and nice, easy to work with. And someone did ask me in the comments, how about is acrylic as good as regulating temperature for the little ones as well as? Of course it's not. I mean, nothing compares to wool when it comes to regulating temperature. But for sure, an acrylic suit keeps him much warmer than the woolen suit that has been through the washer and dryer and thus is this size and doesn't fit him anymore. So, I've knit for those two before for their children. It's my youngest son and his wife, and they have 3 children. They don't hand wash. So this time I decided, no, I'm gonna knit something that will survive in their household. So the super cute suit, I am really happy with it. It's a little too big for him. The sizing was a little odd. So I did choose to go between sizes. I just added a few extra stitches here and there and knitted a little longer here and there. And I'm pretty sure that it's gonna fit him all winter. I also added a little bunny rabbit. It's the same one that I knit for his older sister a couple of weeks ago. Very, very simple. If you want just a quick little present for a child, this bunny rabbit is perfect. I am gonna include instructions for, it's not a pattern per se, but a recipe for how to make it. Basically, you knit a square in stockinette stitch, just knit a square and sew it up, and you have this cute little rabbit. It takes half an hour, maybe an hour the first time you're working it. It's so sweet. I also dipped my toes into crochet these past weeks. I'm not a big fan of crocheting. I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at reading my stitches, and it really hurts my elbow. But my little grandson, Victor, he likes spiders. And I was browsing Ravelry one day, and I stumbled upon this designer who had a number of teeny tiny crochet animals, all free patterns and all beautiful, super, super cute. And she had a spider pattern. So I, of course, had to make the spider for him. This one. It's so sweet. And it's fast, too. So again, a quick present that you just need something. This is perfect. And it's a nice way to use some of your leftovers. I knitted in a heavy yarn, so it's mine, like it's the size of my palm. But of course you can knit it in fingering weight and get a teeny tiny one. I am contemplating for Halloween to knit one in a super bulky yarn so I get like a big spider and knit. Crochet. Come on, it's crochet when you do this. Sorry. But I would like to crochet one in a super bulky yarn so I get like a really big spider that can just hang from the floor or something, for the ceiling or something. Wow, I'm not good with those words today. Please be patient with me. It's amazing what 1 week of not recording can do. It's like I completely forget how to do this. I'm so sorry. I hope that you will be patient with me and I will be back very soon. I hope. As I was crocheting, I did not stop with the spider. Now I'm looking around. Here it is. When I was still in Italy, my granddaughter, Isabella, she called me and asked if I could crochet some little birds for her. A while back, I crocheted a bird for her from the book, The Peek-a-Pow and the Animal Friends. Gonna link the book again in the show notes below. She would like a couple of those. So, of course, I didn't bring the book, but I did have some cotton yarn. And from memory, I crocheted this and another one like it, just with the colors, a different color placement. And it's a good enough match that she's happy with them. She did tell me though, you know, Grandma, I am gonna hang them from the ceiling in my room so that it looks like it's a room full of birds flying. So I'm probably gonna need maybe 10. This is number 2. I have a long way to go, but I'm gonna crochet one every now and then, and her flock can grow slowly. But yeah, again, crocheting really hurts my elbow, so it's not my favorite pastime. But these little birds, they're cute. All the animals actually in the Peek-a-Pow and the Animal Friends are adorable. And she has written like a long list of which ones she wants, just in case I have some extra time. So, yeah. I did give the first one to her, and I think I'm going to give them one at a time so that she can see that I'm still in process. I have also been working a lot on my Christmas collection, and I'm just going to show you very briefly what I've been doing. For many years, I have been knitting these Christmas balls for my grandchildren. So there is one for Victor here and one for Isabella, and I have one for every grandchild. And I also make a ball with the year that they were born. Last year, Lucas arrived just before Christmas, and I didn't have time to make his Christmas ball. And, of course, last Sunday, Theo arrived, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and knit all 4 of them. This will be one of the patterns in my Christmas collection. They're very simple Christmas balls. I mean, you can find patterns for a Christmas ball everywhere, but I'm gonna include the charts for all the letters and the numbers, so that you can start your own tradition should you so desire. I really like it, and it's not too much work when you only do one when they're born. I mean, Isabella at one point suggested that I do one for them each every year. That's not gonna happen, but I really like these little ones. There's also gonna come other decorations or ornaments, like this little Christmas ball with a star on it. This is gonna be my little hearts. I have been working on this pattern. I have had the pattern for many years, but this year I have been working on changing it so that it's a little easier to knit. But these hearts, they're super cute. They're super fast. I mean, they work up in half an hour. I use them all over the place for Christmas. I use them in a big bowl as a centerpiece. I often put one on each plate, or I string them and hang them on the tree, or you can do anything with them. I mean, if you were really feeling generous, you could knit one for every present that you're giving, attaching it to the present. That's not going to happen for me, but you technically could. I also knit for the Nisse. The Nisse is the most important person in my Christmas, this little mythical creature. I knit him little sweaters and little hats with Christmassy pom-poms. These I will hang in windows, on the wall, just put up a string and then hang these with either little wooden, what do you call those, like thingy clothespins. There you go. Or I will make hangers for the sweaters out of some wire. And then I have also been knitting some socks. One year for Christmas, I knit 24 of these little socks and made it into an advent calendar for Peter, so that every morning he would get like a little nice present, like candy or just little things. But yeah, they're so cute and they're so much fun to knit. So these are some of the things that will be in my Christmas collection. There's also going to be something to wear. I won't call it garments, but some accessories, like a little cow with the bird pattern that I like so much, and some fingerless mitts with some textured stitches and some French knots embroidered on them. And I'm gonna make a very smooth transition into works in progress, because of course there's also gonna be a hat. You need a hat. When you have a cow and some fingerless mitts, you also need a hat. This is a very simple ribbed hat, and I am working it top down, because I think often when I want to knit a hat, I'm knitting from scraps or a single skein, and I'm like, am I going to run out of yarn? How much yarn should I put aside for the crown of the hat? So I thought, why not knit it top down, and then you can knit it until you run out of yarn. So that's also going to be in the Christmas collection. The yarn that I'm using for the cowl, the fingerless mitts, and hat is this yarn from Hoppy. A while back, Hoppy reached out, asked me if I wanted to try some of their yarns, and this is one of the yarns that I picked. And I must say, I'm super happy with this. This is a mix. It's 51% wool and 49% acrylic. It's called Winter Glow. I can just show you the tag here. But what I really like about this yarn is, if I hold it really close, maybe you can see that it's a little uneven spun, so it just looks a little rustic, and it knits up super nice. It's a pleasure to knit with this. It's so easy, and you can work it at so many different gauges. I think they recommend a rather large needle. Where did I put the tag? If memory serves me, they recommend a needle for 5mm, a US 5mm, US 8 maybe. 5mm needle, that's rather heavy. I'm actually using US 5 here, 3.75mm to give me like this tighter fabric. It's not super tight, but I think you can actually knit this yarn to a variety of gauges, and they have the most beautiful colors, and I chose these three different brown colors. See, so that they will go together but not be matchy. I'm not necessarily a fan of accessories all knit in the same yarn with the same pattern, but here it's like a gradient set, and I really like that. It's also going to be in the Christmas collection. If you want to help me test the Christmas collection, please write to me. My email is in the description below. I am gonna put out a test call within a couple of weeks. I'm still working on some of the patterns, but I'm getting there, and I really want a number of testers so that people can just choose one or two of the little things to test. That way we can get through the whole thing relatively quickly and have the collection out in time for Christmas. Okay, I have one more finished object. It doesn't really count because it was also a finished object last time I podcasted. It's my Svaneke sweater. The sweater that I knit with all the memories of a wonderful family vacation this summer. And if you're a returning viewer, you can probably tell that this has changed a lot. I'm just gonna put in a little video of what happened to the sweater. So here I have my Svaneke sweater, and I have a number of problems with this sweater. I've been working all week trying to write up the pattern and grade it into the different sizes, and in this process I just ran into a number of problems. The first problem is that since this is a worsted weight super cozy sweater with a folded over neckband, I wanted the neckband to sit rather high so that it's really cozy and warm. That proved difficult in some of the sizes. Another problem that I have is with the increases for the yoke. As you can see here, these pearl rows, they don't look nice. They look wonky. That's because there are increases in them. At first it blocked out really nicely, and I thought, oh, problem solved. But as soon as I started wearing the sweater just to be able to take some photos, the wool remembered what it was supposed to do, which was not what I wanted it to do. So it started puckering again. I also have a problem with the sleeves, getting the pattern to fit with the stitch count for the sleeves. So I have to think about, do I want to prioritize fit or pattern? And for sure I'm going to go with fit, but I need to figure out a way to work around this. The last problem that I have is the beginning of round, which is very, very visible here. I have thought about maybe moving it to the side here or the shoulder, but it's still going to be very visible. And in the wave pattern, I don't mind. That's okay. But here in the herringbone stitch, I do mind. And if you take a closer look, you can see that beginning of round is very, very visible in a herringbone stitch. And I have not been able to find a workaround for that. So what I have decided to do is actually change the construction of the sweater. So instead of doing it in a round yoke, I'm gonna put in a drop shoulder sleeve. So yeah, that will solve all my problems. I can shape the neckline to fit all sizes. I can hide the beginning of round in the side seam here. I'm still gonna work it top down because this is my personal preference. I like that people are able to decide as they go, try the sweater as they knit it, so that they get the perfect length of both body and sleeves for their personal preferences. Since this is worked top down, I would actually have to rip back the whole thing and start over from scratch. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pick up the stitches here just after the separating for the sleeves. Then I'm going to cut my sweater and I'm going to rip back the yoke. I'm going to knit the yoke again, top down, and then I'm going to graft the live stitches for the from the yoke together with the live stitches here from the body, and it's going to be completely invisible. I don't know that I'll be able to reuse the sleeves. I'm going to try. If not, a sleeve in a worsted weight sweater is no big deal. So I'm going to pick up these stitches, and when I do that, I always want to work with a metal needle because they're slick. They're not going to hang on to the yarn. These are my Haya sharps because, yeah, they're sharp, which means that it's going to be easier for me to pick up the stitches. And I'm going to start at just any random point. As you can see, I have a rather long cable, and I put this stopper on the other needle so that I don't pick up stitches just to see them falling off in the other end. But I'm just going to pick up here. I'm going to go into the right leg of every stitch. Like this. It doesn't really matter if you go into the right or the left leg. That'll just mean that your stitches are perhaps twisted, but no big deal. So I'm just going to do that for the body and then for the sleeves, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I cut it. I'm back. I picked up all my stitches, and as you can see, I did a good job actually picking up the same round of stitches. And you can see that here at the beginning of round where I have one stitch above my picked up stitch here and two here, because this here is the beginning of round. So now I just need to pick a thread to cut, and let's see, I'm gonna go with the stitch above the one that I picked up. So that would be this one, the stitch above. So I'm just gonna snip that one like this, and then I'm just gonna unravel all the way through here. And that's going to take me forever as well. But as you can see, it's just like doing an afterthought here. I will end up with live stitches on my needle. Yeah, that was a somewhat frustrating process, but I'm happy that I made the decision to change the construction of the sweater. Even though I really loved the round yoke, there was just too many problems with it. There's probably a reason why all Guernsey sweaters are always knit with a satin sleeve or a drop shoulder sleeve. So yeah, here is the new Svaneke sweater. I love it. It is super cozy. I mean, it's even cozier than this, because this is a worsted weight sweater and it is so yummy. And I love the yarn. This color is, in my opinion, perfect for sweaters with these textured stitches, because if you choose a yarn that is too busy or too dark, much of the texture will be lost. Very often these sweaters are just knit in an off-white, but I really love this platinum gray. This is also yarn by Kielerijk, the same hand dyer who made the yarn for this one. She also made this Highland worsted weight in the colorway platinum gray. And it's just so perfect. So perfect. And I added in an extra stitch because when I changed the construction, I needed a little more. So we still have up here the waves rolling into the shore of Bonhomme. Then we have the new stitch pattern, these little V's. This is my grandson, little Victor, who was the only of my grandchildren on this trip, but he is, you notice him. He doesn't need company to be noticed, so of course he should be in the sweater. Then I have the herringbone stitch with the beginning of round out here in the side seam. Because on Bonhomme you eat herring all the time. Morning, noon and night you eat herring, smoked herring, and it's delicious. You have the trellis pattern here, which to me is the net that a family weave, where we reach into each other's lives and we connect and we touch and we move on. I love that pattern. And then finally we have the birds. That's also on the cowl for the Christmas collection. I love this pattern, and this is a nod to my brother, he loves his birds. He's a bird watcher. So yeah, of course, the birds needed to be part of the family sweater as well. This one isn't testing. I hope that it's going to come out. It is going to come out during the winter, because this is a wintry thing. It's this huge sweater that you can just chuck on a cold day and curl up on your couch, maybe even light a little fire and sit and knit to your heart's content. Or you use it when you have to go out. You will be super warm wearing this one. So I'm very happy with it. Even if it's not with the round yoke that I loved so much. And that was it for the finished objects. But I think I did good, didn't I? Or did I do well? I never remember if you do good or you do well. Anyway, that's it for finished objects. I do have 2 whips, plus, of course, the hat that I already showed you. But I have 2 other whips that I am working on. And one of them you have seen many times. It is in this beautiful bag from the Urban Stitcher. The one with the sheep. it's so pretty. And in it is my perfect little cardie. This is really a project that I am enjoying, because from the beginning I set myself the goal of knitting a cardigan that would have a perfect fit, that wouldn't slide off your shoulders, that wouldn't droop in front, that would just fit you and be the cardigan that you could just put on over everything, dresses, shirts, tees, whatever. This cardie, yeah. So I have been knitting this many times because I wanted it to be perfect and fit. I'm sure that some designers can achieve perfect fit just on paper. I can't. I need to try to knit it, try it on, rip back, knit again. But it does have this almost saddle shoulder up here, where you're only increasing for the body, and then you start increasing for the sleeves, and you continue the pattern all the way down the sleeves. And as you can see, I am knitting a sleeve, and I'm also knitting the body. This, of course, ends up as a tangled mess quite often. But this is for practical reasons, because knitting the sleeve, that's perfect TV knitting. I can sit and watch old episodes of Game of Thrones, which is what we're watching these days, because House of Dragons, and then, well, anyway, I can sit and watch that and still work the pattern on the sleeve. But when I'm with people, I am knitting on the body, because that's just stockinette stitch in the, not in the round, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I can easily do that and carry on conversation and be present with the people that I'm with. So that's why I am working on both ends of this cardigan. The yarn is a yak silk blend. I love silk blends. Have you noticed? This is not colored, it's undyed yak and silk from a Danish hand dyer called Knitathon. She gifted me this yarn so that I could make something pretty, as she said, and I decided this yarn because it is so soft. It is so soft. It is unbelievably soft. She only has soft yarns, but this one is, it's so soft, and it is like a little spongy. It's a beautiful yarn, and it knits up so nice. This is knit flat, and usually when I knit stockinette stitch flat, it will typically need to be blocked, but I really think that the stitches are just working themselves into a really nice fabric. And of course, I love the color. This is everything that I want from a color. This grayish brown, beautiful, beautiful color. So this is my go-to knit. It's the one that is with me at all times, so that I can always put in a couple of rounds or rows depending on the situation that I'm in. I am really enjoying the process of this knit. Yeah, it is amazing, and I'm learning so much as I'm knitting. And yeah, this is one of those that, please don't be finished too soon, because this is really nice to work with. The other one is something that I cast on. It's a completely new cast on in my beautiful project bag from Tina Mai. She repurposes old fabrics and she finds these old embroideries. It can be from chair seats or hanging embroideries or what have you, and she will reuse them in knitting bags. And this is a brand new cast on because I was working on all these little things, toys and ornaments and accessories, and everything was just tiny and relatively involved. I mean, it's super quick to knit up a Christmas heart or a Christmas ball, but it's somewhat involved. So I just needed something on thick, heavy needles that would just keep my interest but fly off the needles. So I chose to knit my Doodle sweater. And because of the state of this project, I'm just going to put a photo of my Doodle. Because I have decided to knit this as a cardigan. And that's, I think that's going to be easy. What I did is I did not do the ribbing. The pattern instructs you to start with the ribbing. I did not do that. I just cast on the number of stitches that you have after the ribbing. And then I'm going to work the ribbing later. I also cast on 3 extra stitches here so that I would have something to stick in. And I chose only 3. I think I'm going to be fine. My plan is to crochet an enforcement, and then I'm probably also going to needle felt it just a little bit just to make sure. And I will also, as I always do when I stick a cardigan, I'm going to pick up stitches for the button bands before sticking, because you will like pull on the yarn when you pick up stitches. So I prefer to have all that done before I cut my knitting. But yeah, this is a fun project, and it does fly off the needles, as was always also the reason for casting it on. If I just work on this for half an hour, I can see that I've been working. The yarn for this one is also from Hobbii, also some of the yarn that they gave me so that I could try it out. And this is their Snowstorm, and it's a really thick and heavy yarn. Originally, I knit the Doodle sweater in a blow yarn from Drops, but I really wanted to see how it would work up in a spun yarn. I think this is a woolen spun. It's very airy, so I'm super happy with the result. I have sometimes knit these bulky sweaters in spun yarns and they've just become too heavy. That's why I chose the blow yarn when I was working on this pattern originally, because I don't like a sweater that weighs a kilo. It's just too much. But this is really working up beautifully. It's super easy to knit with. It's easier to knit with than a blow yarn. Sometimes if your needles are too sharp, you will stick into the net that the fiber is blown into. This is so easy to work with. And yeah, it just flies off the needle. And I actually think it's going to be a super cute little cardigan. I'm a bit interested to see how all these cables are going to work, because on the original sweater, the cables pull the fabric in around the shoulders, so it's rather tight fitting on the shoulders, and then you have all the extra ease in the body. So I'm a little interested to see how this is going to work out when I stick it open, if it's just going to say and end up on top of my shoulders. I hope not. I don't think so. I can block this. The reason why I didn't work the ribbing in the beginning is because if I had worked the ribbing in the beginning, then I would have my bottom band going all the way up through the neckline. Like if I were to cut this open now, I would have a bottom band that went all the way up here. And I actually like the bottom band to be the top, so that you have bottom band here, and then you have the neckline finishing that bottom band off. Am I even making sense? I think maybe I am. So if I cut this, the bottom band would go all the way up. I don't like that. I like the neckline to be the finishing of the sweater. So what I am going to do is I'm going to stick this, and then I'm going to be working the bottom bands, and I'm going to be working them like vertically. I think, yeah, vertically up here. And then I'm going to have some stitches from the bottom bands. I'm going to work those and then pick up all the stitches around for the neckline. I think that's going to look really nice. And I am going to do what I'm also doing on my perfect little cardigan. I'm going to either put in an afterthought buttonhole, or I'm going to put in snap buttons. I think it's so difficult to figure out before your cardigan is finished where you want those buttons to sit, because I like to be able to play around with that and wear the cardigan and put in just some little safety pins or something to close it, and then decide this is where my buttons and those buttonholes are going to be. So for both of these cardigans that I'm working on, I am going to either put in afterthought buttonholes or snap buttons, because that's easy. I just need to find some that are pretty. If you know where I can get pretty snap buttons, please let me know in the comments below. I have been searching Amazon, but I don't really know. Maybe I'm just searching for the wrong thing. I don't know. If you can help me, please do so in the comments below. So yeah, 3 works in progress. The hat is almost done. And then I just have a few more things to work for the Christmas collection, and then I can just enjoy my cardigans. I do have some dream knitting as well. I have received the yarn for the Knitathon. The Knitathon is coming up in October 15, and I will be knitting a sweater with this beautiful yarn. It's going to be my Christmas sweater. It's going to be the sweater that I can wear for all these gatherings and parties and stuff that we go to over the Christmas time. And this color, that is so Christmassy. But it's not so Christmassy that I can't wear the sweater the rest of the year. It's a merino single DK weight, and I think this is gonna fluff up beautifully when I start knitting with it. So yeah, this is also from Fiftyfabulous, and the colorway is Brand I Byen, Fire in the City. So yeah, those of you who are gonna participate in the Knitathon, you're gonna see much more of this yarn. I really hope that you are considering joining us for the Knitathon. Last time was so cozy. It was just a wonderful day and night of knitting and of being together. Even though we were very far apart, we were together, and it was absolutely lovely. There's a couple of other podcasters who are gonna go live during the 24 hours. Malene is gonna play for us again. She's a pianist, and last time she gave us, I think, was it half an hour or an hour of beautiful music where we could just sit and enjoy as we were knitting away. There is the Shawl Knitter Unplugged who's gonna go live, and I think also there's a couple of the Danish podcasters who are gonna go live in English or partly in English. But I am gonna post a schedule for the 24 hours as we get a little closer. I am starting to get the prizes together because of course there's going to be prizes just like last time, and there's going to be community, and there's going to be so much happiness and enjoyment. You can see the few details that are in place are posted on my website, and of course that is also linked down below. I also have some dream knitting that will be cast on very soon because I received all this gorgeous lat wool. Returning viewers will have seen that I knit the beautiful Shifty sweater from Andrea Mowry with this lat wool. It also comes in a self-striping color, but I received all of this. And these three colors are just the undyed colors, and this gloriously orange one is one that is dyed, and this is also from Pikey Lyric. I received all of this, and I thought first that I was gonna knit the taro from Junko Okamoto because it's beautiful. But as I was looking on the pattern, it does have a rather deep V on the front and on the back. And I thought that's probably gonna be a little too open for me in a sweater. A sweater knit in this yarn is gonna be warm. So I thought that was gonna be a little, yeah, and I do know that with Junko Okamoto's patterns, they're a little difficult to modify because it's always such a clever construction, and you're knitting and you're like, what is this? And then all of a sudden, a beautiful sweater is in your hands. So instead I thought, no, I'm gonna work a cardigan. Anyone noticing a theme here? I knew exactly what that cardigan was going to look like. I had this picture in my head. I knew exactly what it was going to look like. But I also knew that I didn't want to design a cardigan. Because the design process is so much more than just knitting a garment that you love. It's a lot of work. Like knitting the garment, that's just the fun part. So I decided, no, I have more than enough on my plate. I'm not gonna be designing another cardigan. Then I started looking for patterns that would give me the fit that I wanted, and then I could just add the pattern that the color pattern that I wanted to that. And I was so lucky. I found this one. This is exactly what I wanted. The nostalgic sweater cardigan coat. I'm sorry. I'm going to put it in the description below. It's by Albiona McLaughlin. I probably butchered that, which I'm really sorry for. But again, I'm going to put it in the description box below. Links directly to the pattern on Ravelry, because that's a beautiful pattern. That is exactly the cardigan that I wanted. And then I will just add in my own stripes, color work, and all the things that I wanted for my cardigan. So I am casting that on as soon as I finish at least one of the cardigans that I'm working on. Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just casting on because I can do that. My hands, my yarn, I decide what to knit. I'm so casting this on the second that I'm done recording. I can see my Swift and my ball winder from here, and they're calling for me. Just wind the yarn, find the needles. Yeah, I'm definitely casting this on. It's a beautiful sweater. I bought the pattern. I read through it. It's really, really a well-written pattern with lots of suggestions for different shapes and lengths, and really a nice pattern. I haven't knit from it yet, but I actually feel confident that I can recommend this pattern already because it is very well written. So that is something that I am looking forward to playing with. That's going to be so much fun. And that, I think, was all the creative content this week. That, yeah, that was a lot. But it's also been 3 weeks since I last chatted with you guys. So, of course, there's going to be a lot. For life stuff, yeah, as I mentioned, we're in Denmark. We're high on baby fumes, and we're really enjoying knowing that we will be here for the entire month. We're hanging out with friends and family. I think we're eating out almost every night. We've had one night in since we arrived, which is almost 2 weeks ago. Tonight we're having some friends over for a tapas and cocktails, which is, I'm looking forward to that. I'm enjoying September. Every morning I have to just open all the doors and windows so that I can get this September smell. Like when it's just a little bit cold. It's definitely not summer anymore. It's not really fall, but you have this little zing in the air. I love that. So I am so happy. I am trying to balance out these these very fun outgoing nights with some quiet mornings, taking my time to taste the tea and smell the air and cuddle up with my little Misa, my dog, and my knitting. And this is a perfect balance for me. I am thoroughly enjoying myself. I really hope that you're enjoying yourself too. I hope you have something wonderful to knit on, and I hope that I will see you again in a couple of weeks when I come back with another English podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for watching. It means the world that I have someone to talk to, that I'm not just sitting here talking at my camera. So thank you so much for your precious time. Be well and happy knitting.